Now throw it.
Okay, so we were talking about the difference of Dalet and Reish. We mentioned that the Dalet and Reish both mean poor, but there's a significant difference in the type of poverty. The Dalet's poverty is a poverty of Kedusha, which means it makes itself poor, recognizing that it has nothing and wants to receive. And therefore it's clinging to this little Yud which is behind it. The Yud represents the Sphira above it, Yesod, which in general represents Olam Haba, the world to come. As we said, with the Yud, Hashem created the Olam Haba, which is basically spirituality and Kedusha. So by the Dalet making itself poor and wanting to receive from the higher worlds, it winds up clinging and being united with the higher worlds, and therefore being able to bring spirituality and hashpah from above and incorporate it. The Reish, not having that Yud, therefore lacking the Bittul, the Yud also represents being mevatel yourself, making yourself small like a Yud. The Reish lacking that Bittul, so it's poor in a different sense. It's, as it were, it's truly poor. Not that it makes itself poor, on the contrary, it thinks that it has everything it needs, but therefore, since it's full of itself, it can't receive anything from above. And therefore it's in a state of disconnect from the spirituality in the higher worlds. And that's basically a level of arrogance. And this, we're going to go on here. It says, V'zehu Yaakov, the line starts, Hu ha'ara de ha'ara. Chitzonius de chitzonius, Uba b'tachlis ha'hela. Page 60. 6 lines down. The end of the line. V'zehu de Yaakov amar yesh li kol, ve'esav amar yesh li rav. So it's interesting, the Torah's precision here. There's the conversation when Yaakov and Esav are reunited. So Yaakov's trying to give him the mincha, the offering that he would be appeased, and Esav tried to refuse it and sort of give it back to him. And their language is very indicative of what they are. So it says, Yaakov said, "Take it, my brother, because yesh li kol, I have everything."
This is when they meet out in
Yeah. And Esav comes back to him and says, "No, you take it, because yesh li rav, I have a lot." So Yaakov says, "I have everything." Esav said, "I have a lot." First and foremost, Yaakov says, "Yesh li kol." The union of kol is what we just said. Kol d'shamayim ba'aretz, achid b'shamayim ba'ara. We said that Yesod is called kol because it unites the heavens and earth. Yeah? So Yaakov says, Yesh li kol. I have this thing called kol. I have this ability to connect with the higher worlds and be bittul to it. And Esau says something else, Yesh li rav. I have a lot. The Kedusha, Yaakov is inside of Kedusha, Shu b'chinas u'midregas Yaakov, Amr yesh li kol b'chinas kol, the achid b'shamayim ba'ara. You know, so he said, I have this level of kol, which unites and joins together heavens and earth, which makes the flow of godliness be able to be perceived inside of the lower worlds. About Esav shu klipa b'sitra achra, but whereas Esav, who represents the side of klipa, Amar yesh li rav, he said, I have a lot. Shu ein lo b'chinas kol ha'machaber ki Yaakov, which first and foremost shows that he does not have this level of kol, which Yaakov has, which joins him to Kedusha. Kim rav. But rather, what does he have? He has rav. What's rav? Riboy hashpas gashmos. I have a lot of physicality. In other words, a lot is in of riboy. Riboy is a multiplicity. In other words, the idea of Yaakov is that he's able to join to oneness and receive. In other words, the whole idea of Malchus is that Malchus represents the world. And the world in general is a place of disunity and concealment of godliness. But having kol means that you're able to connect yourself to the oneness and spirituality and then allow that oneness to permeate into the many multiplicity of physicality. So therefore, that's the chiddush of Torah. That even though you're in the world of multiplicity, you're connected to the higher worlds and you can draw forth oneness into the world of multiplicity. Whereas Esav, he says, Yeshli Rav, all he has is the many. Rav means many. All he has is the many of this world. He's disconnected from the oneness of above. He's not able to draw through the truth of the spiritual world and bring oneness into this world. And therefore, when he says, I have a lot, his intention of a lot is just, I have all this stuff, I have all this multiplicity. When it comes to multiplicity, though, he says, I have a lot. You can't ever have it all. Because the whole idea of multiplicity is that it maintains its status as being many. So all you can have is more and more and more and more and more, and it's an endless thirst, basically, to have more and more and more when you're in the situation of not seeing things as a collective whole. When you're Yaakov and you can see a oneness, you can actually say, I have everything, because at the end of the day, kol means everything. I have everything. Because once you have sort of locked into the Indian of godliness, you can actually get your hands on a concept of a totality of the thing, where everything is, all the parts are unified as one. And therefore he says, I have kol, as I'm drawing forth a oneness into this creation. Esav cannot see that. He's disconnected from spirituality and the higher worlds, the unity. So all he can say is, Yeshli Rav, I have many. All he can see is the disjointed multiplicity. And all that little secret is written right into the Torah. Yaakov says kol, Esav says Rav. Talking about the same exact thing. Their perspective is different. Kamaimer Rav Mesifta Man de ihuzer ihurav, uman de ihurav ihuzer. So as it says, the one who is small, he's really big, and the one who's big is really small. In other words, Yaakov, who's willing to make himself small, like Yaakov says, "Katonti mikol chasadim." Right? Yaakov says, "I'm small from all this kindness you've done to me." He who makes himself small, bitters himself, he's really big, because he gets out of the way. This giant hashpa of godliness is able to come through him. One who makes himself big, like Esav, Yeshli Rav, I'm a big shot, he's really small, because he's just stuck with what he has, and what he has is limited, and therefore he cannot be a channel. The Kedusha, the Ihuzer, the Aziris Garma, in Kedusha, he who is small, who makes himself small, the Kamosha Kasuv, Mi Yakum Yaakov Ki Katanu, as the verse says, who can make Yaakov get up? Who can push him around? Being that he's small. In other words, because he's small, you can't make him get up. Because he has like a certain power in his smallness. Ihurav begila bechinas kol. So that person who's small is really great. Because he has this revealed in him this level of kol. He has this like oneness, this unshakable oneness, which can't really be harnessed and therefore can't really be shaken off its place. Of the revelation of kol, of aman the ihurav, but someone who's big makes himself big. The yeshlo rav, as Esav said, yeshli rav, ihuzer, he's really small. Why? The larash ain kol, because this level, he's poor, because he's rav, which means he's unable to disconnect from the oneness. So that means he's poor in the sense of rash. He has a poverty in the sense that he's not able to connect to spirituality. And the Rash ein kol, and the verse says the Rash, the poor, ein kol. He has nothing. Really means he does not have this level of kol, which connects him to the higher worlds. Urak bashpas gashmis. All he has is the physicality of this world. He's not able to realize its root, that it's flowing from spirituality, and therefore all he sees is this disjointed physical world, which comes as a multiplicity. And that's what it says, that lions are rash, right? They're poor, v'raivu, and starving. Perish b'zohar, and Zohar brings, that's the pshat, basically. We say in benching, right? Or we're saying when it's a hilum, benching. It's in benching.
Yeah, at the end.
At the end of benching. Kafirim rashu v'raivu. The Zohar says, Shekai al ayin pariyachad. So another way of looking at it is, kafirim is out of batteries, maybe?
Yeah.
Was it 4% or something?
Yeah.
That's right. Too bad.